Hi, I'm Cleo Carney, and I'm passionate about creating recipes that are better for your body and the environment while not compromising on taste. This is a super simple 3-ingredient chocolate recipe. You might think chocolate is complicated, but this is actually one of my easiest recipes and takes 5 minutes to make, just a little bit longer to cool in the fridge. You can adjust the sweetness to your liking depending on how dark you like your chocolate. So the ingredients you'll be using are cacao powder, cacao butter, and then our sweetener of choice will be maple syrup. You can use honey, but it is a bit thick. You could also use a tablespoon of sugar. We have some optional add-ins, which I like to add on top for a little bit of a crunch. So I do a sprinkle of chia seeds and then some slivered almond. You could also use granola that adds a delicious crunch, or omit those ingredients altogether. Just a quick note that it is quite important if you're focusing on sustainability to get organic and fair trade cacao butter and cacao powder. They are notoriously not very environmentally sustainable crop in the way they are produced. So ensuring that they are fair trade keeps in mind the farmers who do produce the crop and also the environmental aspect. Cacao powder lends the delicious bitterness. It is less processed and contains more of the minerals and nutrients you want. First is your cacao butter. So this is a 1/3 cup of cacao butter, and you're gonna add it to your saucepan. And you want to add your cacao butter first, as you want it to be the first thing that touches the heat. And then you're gonna add your cacao powder. So you're gonna turn your stove on to low heat, and you'll watch your cacao butter as it slowly turns clear. It looks like melted butter. And you want to get a whisk, and you'll just slowly whisk everything in. Once your chocolate is melted but not entirely melted, you do want to turn off the heat just to be really careful that you don't overcook your chocolate. This is what it will look like once entirely melted. So now you're going to add your maple syrup, and you want to whisk to incorporate that really well. You do have to be careful that you don't want your mixture to turn into a thick ganache. As soon as you turn off the heat, you do have to work relatively quickly so that it doesn't harden. And if it does, you can just put it back on the heat, but it's best if you do this all in one take. So once everything is incorporated, you're gonna take your pot off heat and pour into a mold of choice. I'm using these chocolate bar molds, but you can also use parchment paper and create a form of a bark or truffle molds, really whatever you want. It's your chocolate. You can also taste it here to check for sweetness. If you like your chocolate sweeter, you can add a bit more maple syrup. And if you like your chocolate darker, you will want to add a bit more cacao powder. So now you will want to add your toppings of choice. I'm adding a sprinkle, this is about 1/2 tablespoon of chia seeds. These chia seeds will stay crunchy, they won't go gelatinous like when engulfed in water. And you can also add flaky sea salt on top if you like your chocolate with salt. I'm gonna use 5 or 6 plain unsalted almonds. I'm using a very large knife because it makes it easier to chop. Don't cut your fingers. Once your almonds are as finely chopped to your liking, you can sprinkle them over the top of your chocolate. Make sure you have clean hands. This is also quite nice because the chia seeds just sit on top of the chocolate, but the almonds are more integrated into the actual chocolate. There's some texture as you're eating it. Once you have your chocolate all ready with its fixings, you are going to put this in the fridge for 30 minutes or in the freezer for 10 minutes or so. It is very important because this chocolate does not contain any preservatives or emulsifiers or gums, which often chocolates on the market do contain, that this stays in the fridge at all times, even when you're not cooling it. Otherwise, the taste and texture goes a bit chalky. When you're taking it out of the mold, you do want to be careful to not break it because that is really easy to do. Now, I'm gonna break off a piece. It just melts in your mouth. It's the best consistency. Is so rich and delicious. I promise you, once you make this, you will never go back to regular store-bought chocolate. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you again in another video. You can also check the link down below for more recipes on Blue Dot's website or my own personal website, cleoscleancakes.com.